guys, it's Naseem here. Now the iPhone 13 has been out for almost a year now, and many of us are wondering whether or not we should buy it this late in the year. So in this video, I want to give you guys my experience and provide one simple statement that I think wraps up the 13 as a whole. And that statement is, I think that the iPhone 13 gives you everything that you need in an iPhone. And I say this because in terms of everyday use, the iPhone 13 will leave you more than satisfied because it really doesn't have any major weaknesses that'll steer people away from it. The iPhone 13 has an incredibly stable yet smooth software that is great all around. It has a powerful chip that allows you to run any power heavy app without having to deal with lags. It has a great battery that'll last you all day even with heavy use. And it has a great display that gives you a great visual experience. And even though the iPhone 14 is coming pretty soon, the iPhone 13 is heavily matched with it, and judging by the specs, look, and software, it's basically the exact same phone. Both phones are using the same chip. The battery should be about the same. Both phones will have the same software, and both phones will have the same look and most of the ports, all the way down to that very ugly notch. And even though I think that the iPhone 13 is one of the most well-rounded phones out there, I still want to share my experience with you guys to help you decide whether or not it's right for you. Now, the first thing that I want to look at when it comes to the iPhone 13 is the display. Now, the iPhone 13 has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display that in person still has a phenomenal look that gives off a very premium feel. Something that I liked about the 13 was how it felt. The smoothness was something that I noticed that was still there even after almost a year of use, and scrolling through the OS felt effortless for me, and I had no lags along the way. I also really liked that it had the same size display as the 13 Pro, which made the viewing experience much better. Whenever I would watch a video on it, I loved how I had no trouble seeing anything even if the screen was farther away, and I really appreciated how it wasn't too big to the point where I would struggle to grip it with one hand. The responsiveness was also very smooth and precise. It basically was as sharp as the 13 Pro and Pro Max, which really gave it that new feeling and made me appreciate the fact that Apple put some effort into the responsiveness. Now, the brightness was okay at best if I'm being honest. Like, it was good for an iPhone, but when you compare it to a Galaxy, I would say that it didn't get as bright, especially when I was outside. I still could see everything when turned to max brightness, but again, the competition was better. Now, the last thing that I liked about the 13's display was that the overall viewing experience was really good. The resolution was sharp, the colors were very vibrant yet realistic, and the size was big enough to make it a really great experience. And to show you guys what I mean, here's an example of me playing a game and watching a video.
Tough shot now. Kobe Bryant off the vintage turnaround. Just beautiful to see. And from the perspective of a young player. Whoa. Look out, number 24.
So now that we've taken a look at the display, the next thing I want to look at is the software. Now, something that I really liked about the iPhone 13 was how well it was able to run the latest version of iOS. And while I was using my 13, I was on iOS 15.5 and it handled it really precise even after almost a year of use. There were no lags, everything felt buttery smooth, and it gave me a very fresh feeling despite being out for almost a year. The 13 was also able to handle power heavy apps really well, surprisingly. Whenever I would play power heavy games, I rarely got any lags. Also, whenever I was using my Google Maps, the phone would get hot and the software was working just fine as opposed to other phones that freeze and completely shut down on me. But besides that, it still had those premium iOS features like the ability to connect to different devices at ease, iMessage, FaceTime, and all of those premium iOS apps that many people use. And it still had that iOS smoothness that even with the minor lags was a joy of using. And if you are considering getting this phone, then you'll be pretty satisfied. Now, the next thing that I want to look at when it comes to the 13 is the battery. Now, when it came to the battery on the iPhone 13, I would usually get about 5 to 6 hours of on-screen time a day, and the battery was still able to last me all day, even when I was using power heavy apps. So if you're someone who does like the game on your phone, the battery will last. I would usually end my day with about 20 to 35% battery whenever I didn't game on it, and if I did game on it, I would usually end my day with about 10 to 20%, which was still really good if you ask me. The charging was also pretty fast whenever I used my quote-unquote fast charger. I would plug my phone up for a short amount of time whenever I needed juice, and I would get enough to finish strong throughout the night. And when compared to the 13 Pro, the charge times and battery life were pretty much the same. So overall, I would say that the battery on the iPhone 13 was really good. And if you're someone who is looking to get the 13 this late in the year, then this phone will last you all day with no problems, even if you're using power heavy apps. So now that we finally got the battery out of the way, let's talk about the speakers. Now, again, comparing the 13 to the 13 Pro, I would say that the speakers are pretty much the same. The bass was a little weak, but that's a common problem within iPhones and most smartphones as a whole. But besides the bass not being that great, I would still say that the overall sound quality was really good. Music sounded nice, videos were loud and clear, and the speakers overall enhanced my viewing experience because they were just so good. And to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound, I'm going to play a video so that you can see how loud they are. And now the final thing that I want to talk about when it comes to the iPhone 13 is the cameras. Now, just like on almost every iPhone, the iPhone 13 has a 212 megapixel camera system that was pretty much the same when compared to the iPhone 12. I was still able to get good photos no matter how harsh or nice the environment was. Like right here, you can see my outside daytime photos, and I would say that these were really good pictures that turned out really well. Everything was sharp, but not too sharp. The colors were accurate, and there was rarely any yellowing like on the previous models. My face also looked pretty accurate, even when the sun wasn't towards my face. The overall vibrancy of the pictures were really great. And now when we look at the inside daytime photos, I would say that these were also really great. Like right here, you can see that there was no graininess no matter how dark it got, and my selfies were top notch when compared to other flagships. The quality got much better, the sharpness was still great, and the colors were very accurate, which definitely redeemed the camera overall. And now when it comes to video quality, the iPhone 13 had one of the best to offer, and to give you guys an example, here's some videos that I took on it. So here's the final question. Should you get the iPhone 13 this late in the year? Honestly, I would say yes, because it's basically the same phone as the iPhone 14. Even if the 14 is better, it won't be that much better to the point where it's worth waiting for. And there it is, my review on the iPhone 13 after almost a year of use. Now let me know down in the comments, would you guys get the iPhone 13 or wait for the iPhone 14? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I would like to say thank you for sticking around. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It will be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.